Hey, what's going on, Hustle Nation? We got a good one coming for you today. A big deal, a big problem, a big issue for lots of people. Credit card debt, right? Let's run through this real quick. Y'all get ready to rock. This is going to be a good one. My man Dave here.
This is the dumbest thing I've seen, and I don't know when. Total credit card debt surged to $1.03 trillion. It marks the highest level ever on record in the Fed, dating back all the way to 2003.
So we're at a highest credit card debt in America that we've ever been at, over $1 trillion. Okay, so here's the stage that's set.
I've never really talked about this, but during my freshman year of college, I studied abroad in London, and I had a credit card for the first time, and I actually went into thousands of dollars, I think exactly $4,000 in credit card debt, simply because I didn't know how to use it. Like, Lisa, what do you mean you didn't know how to use it? All you do is you pay off the card, right? Giving me a credit card with a sky-high credit limit was insane because I had a shopping addiction. It was my first time living alone, away from home. I was in a different country, so I didn't understand the exchange rate sometimes. And on top of that, the word minimum payment really fucks you up when you're like 18, you know? The transaction fees on top of interest, because I paid the minimum payment, resulted me in being in thousands of dollars of credit card debt when I could have totally avoided it because I had the money to pay. I literally just didn't know what the words meant or looked at the app. So, half my fault.
No, not half your fault. It is all your fault, okay? You got to be responsible for your own actions, right? I mean, I'm not trying to hound on this girl or anything, but this is the reason why we're in $1 trillion worth of debt, you know. But hey, I get it. I've been there. I'm not trying to, attack anybody, right? But truth is the truth, right? But hey, let's keep this light. Let's keep this cool. We'll keep going.
Hi, I'm Jamie, and I'm in $10,000 of credit card debt. As I've mentioned many times before, I'm a freelancer, and I did not have steady work for a long time. It's been a very weird time for my industry, and there just are not a lot of jobs in general. So I've had to rely on credit a bit for things like healthcare.
So when you're in a bind, right, and you've got nothing else to do, this is how you get into the credit card debt. And like I said, I've been there, okay? Not judging, right? But that's how she got in there. But she was working on a plan to get out. And that's 10,000. Here comes a 14,000 one. Let's go upward and onward, or downward and onward. So we got the 4,000, we got now we got the 10,000, and we're fixing to hit the 14,000. How high can we go? Or how low can you go? Whichever way, right? Because credit card debt is not high, it's low, high, whatever. Okay.
I'm Jamie. I'm in $14,000 of credit card debt, and I want to know if anyone else is feeling extremely anxious like me.
Yes, when you are in such a high level of credit card debt, you do feel anxious. You know how I felt? I felt like someone was grabbing my throat and I could not breathe. That's how you feel.
And I know that this is not a unique experience, but I always find that when somebody else talks to me about how they're feeling, it makes me feel better. So if somebody else is feeling this way and this is helpful at all, then there was a reason for me to make this video.
All right, that's good. Hopefully she gets this. She's working on, most of these people are working on getting their debts taken care of, as always, as they should, right? But talk's cheap. Now here we move up to a 15,000 from the 14,000. Okay, we're moving down, whatever we call it.
Okay, I wanted to answer this question about how I got into $15,000 worth of credit card debt because I've been getting it a lot. I feel like some people are going to be like, this is basic knowledge, but to me, it wasn't basic knowledge, which is why I wish someone drilled this into my brain and I actually listened. The first is I had zero financial literacy at all. My family never talked about money. I come from a super poor single mom family, and money just wasn't ever talked about because we had none of it. And I never took any classes in high school that taught you about finances. I don't even know if there were any.
There were no talking about money back then in our family either, and there were no classes. There was like economics or something in school, but in high school, but nothing else, right? But that wasn't, they didn't teach you about credit card debt or how to buy a car or any kind of weird, normal stuff like that.
The next is that I always considered my available credit as money that I could spend or money that I had. I distinctly remember buying like a laptop and furniture because I was like, oh, I don't have the money on my debit card, but I have it on my credit card so I can spend it. Which, looking back, is ridiculous, but back then it felt like free money.
It is definitely not free money. And now we're moving up to from a 15,000. Let's all move on up. 26,000. All right, we're getting up there now. This is significant, right? 26,000. That could be a year's salary for somebody, right?
Why do you have so much debt at 20, dude?
Yeah.
What have you done?
26,000 is on my car. The rest of it is all credit cards. The biggest chunk of it all really started whenever I was out of a job for about 2 months. I was putting all of the rent, all of the food, everything on just credit cards. I had a decent job. My roommate had a kind of shaky job, and then he didn't have a job. For the first few months, he was getting money from like his parents or family or whatever, trying to make his part, but that's not sustainable. So, I had to start picking up his half. There was a 2-month period where neither of us had a job, so.
And how was that conversation with the roommate when you were taking on all the bills?
We had the same conversation of me just being like, you gotta figure out a way, and then there was no way being figured out.
Yeah, once you, go down that slippery slope, it's really hard to get back up. I mean, it's a tough one, especially so young, though. But he's got time. He's working it out. I wish the best for everybody. Not trying to prey upon anyone's doom or anything. Just keep it happy, keep it cool.
As I have $30,000 in credit card debt. When they call, I tell them I can't pay it back yet.
Okay, so I wouldn't be dancing around and putting this stuff on the internet if I had $30,000 in credit card debt, and she's like, so what? I mean, she doesn't, I guess she has no idea what's in store for her, so whatever. That's 30. Let's move on up. What do you think? 35? All right, let's go 35. Can I hear 35? Let's do it.
When I actually got engaged, I remember having like a $35,000 credit card bill. And I had known about it for a while, and I was letting it rack up and was just paying essentially the interest each month. And when I got engaged, I felt like, okay, this is the time when I have to tell my partner. And it felt like this huge secret. And I felt really ashamed of it. And I told him one night, and he was definitely shocked, but he was like, we'll figure it out.
Well, we'll figure it out. Maybe they will and maybe they won't, but 35,000. If you were about to get married to somebody, right? And then they say, oh, by the way, I've got $35,000 in credit card debt that you didn't know about, and I didn't know how to tell you about it. I wonder how that conversation would go. Maybe you might delay that marriage? I don't know. Leave me a comment. What do you think? That's a tough one, right?
I am the girl that's going viral on TikTok for having $36,000 in credit card debt. That is me. She is I am her. 1 year ago, I had $17,000 in credit card debt. And since then, on those two cards, I've gotten it down to about $5,000, $6,000. Over this past year, I've paid almost over $3,000 in interest fees. Like, really take all of your progress and just stomp on it. If you're like Brittany and me, then I hope you're listening to her story and listening to my story. For me, my $17,000 largely came from medical debt that I decided to put on my credit card. Don't do that, because if you can't pay it off and it becomes medical debt, I can tell you right now, you're not going to be able to pay it off when it's a credit card debt. It's just going to end up accruing more interest, and you're going to owe more at the end of the day, which is how I ended up paying an additional $3,000 to stay alive. Seems like a really good idea then, huh? But it wasn't.
So you're going to pay your money to stay alive, right? I mean, she fell into the credit card trap because she had medical bills, right? And you want to pay your bills, but she suggests don't do that, right? And I might tend to agree. I'm not a financial advisor. Don't listen to anything I say, but hey, common sense makes common sense, doesn't it? Or does it? Sometimes. You decide. Leave me a comment.
Even though I'm over $39,000 in credit card debt, yesterday I got a personal loan from my bank for $12,000. And I know you're probably thinking, why would you do that? A Chanel bag, sweetie. I wanted a Chanel bag. Psych, y'all. I'm just playing. It was really because the interest rates on my credit cards were just too high. Leveraging my credit and utilizing a personal loan from my credit union is going to help me save over $3,000 within the next year while I pay off my debt.
Now that's a good idea, right? If you can swing it right. If you got a bunch of credit card debt, the last thing you really want is to add to the debt. But if you get a lower interest rate debt that can cover all that stuff up, move all your high interest rate credit card debt down into that lower debt consolidation loan, right? It's a lower interest rate, saves you money. But the trick is, if you are able to get that debt consolidation loan, don't use it in addition to your credit cards, because then you'll be way screwed, right? Like some of these people, right? But I actually have a debt consolidation loan people that I've been talking to. I'll leave a link in the description below or the pinned comment. And check them out. If you have high credit card debt, check them out. But if the interest rate that they're proposing is not significantly lower, don't do it. Go to a credit union or go to your bank or something, and try to get that consolidation loan lower, or try to make some money, pay extra, pick up another job. Hey, you got into the credit card debt, you got to pay it off somehow, right? It's harder to get out than to get in, right? Like a lot of these people are saying. But leave me a comment. What do you think? Okay, so so we did the 36, whatever, 39. Now we're in the big leagues. Here we go, 40K.
I've put other people's bills on my credit card. Hi, I'm Sia, and I started the year off in $40,000 in debt. So many people asked me how. And there is so many answers to that, and I'll probably do a longer video on my YouTube channel. But basically, I realize I have a hard time saying no, and that is to myself and to others. I've built up really bad habits over the years of helping people when I didn't have the money to, leaning on my credit cards as my safety net so that I can make sure other people in my life are okay, and providing a convenient life to myself because I felt like I deserved it. I also made promises to myself where I would put something on my credit card and promise that I would pay it off within the month, and then I wouldn't because I already spent my cash. It almost felt like it was, invisible money. I used to pay off my credit card in full, how I was able to build up such large credit limits, but after a certain time, I wasn't doing that anymore. With the continued bad habits that I had with spreading myself thin when I really didn't have it, it just wasn't helpful, and it really built up my credit card balances over time.
Yeah, when you buying stuff you don't, I don't know. That's whatever. All right, so we're in the big leagues now. Here we go, a $65,000 credit card debt, right?
So, my husband and I are $60,000 in debt. Okay.
Part of the problem. You are.
Let me explain how we got here. In June of 2022, we had a good amount of savings and decided that our home that we've been living in for a couple years just needed some maintenance and some upgrades. You can see behind me, we live in like a very normal house, but there were some things like on the outside where our stucco was falling off, so we needed to have that repaired. We had our house painted, we upgraded our bathroom a little bit, and also decided to pay off my husband's private student loan because the interest is not great. And so we had plenty of savings, and we decided to just drain those bad boys. We both had really stable jobs. We would be able to squirrel away some money over time and build back up our savings again. 2 weeks later, unexpectedly, I was laid off from my job. And I'm the breadwinner of our household, so it did not go well. I was unemployed for about 7 months. Thank goodness I had social media to keep us afloat for a little bit, but here's the deal. We had to put a lot of stuff on credit card to be able to keep ourselves afloat. So anything that could go on a credit card went on a credit card. And that allowed my husband's income to pay for our mortgage, our car payments, our daycare, things like that. But everything else went on a credit card. We cut back as much as we could, but there's still a lot of expenses. We finally decided to do a debt consolidation loan, and it's about $65,000.
Yeah, when it's when your debt's that high, you got to do something, right? Debt consolidation loan, if you can qualify for it, extra job, maybe even consider bankruptcy, but I didn't say that. That's a tough one. When you can't breathe, you suffocate, can't sleep, right? Man, it's a tough one, right? But that was 65. Let's move on up to the real big leagues here, guys. 3 digits. Let's do 100K. $100,000 in credit card debt. Can you imagine how that might feel?
Well, I have the majority of the student loans, and he has the majority of the credit cards. My credit card debt is not great.
Okay,
it's
so
about
why does he at 29 years old run up $100,000 in credit card debt?
Well, he's 32, but I think it's one of those things where just making really poor financial decisions, thinking be able to pay it down as you go, and then it doesn't happen.
Yeah. So you both have advanced degrees. What are your degrees in?
No, he has an MBA, and I have an advanced degree in policy. I work in the government, and we actually both do now at this point, actually.
All right, so two very smart people with 2 great jobs, high degrees, right? And they still end up in this situation. Anybody can fall in this trap. I mean, this is a serious trap that you got to be aware of, right? I mean, this is life-changing in the bad way. Okay, let's move on up. Hey, did you think it can get even lower? Higher credit card debt? 127,000. Let's try that. Okay.
How much consumer debt do you have outside of the mortgage?
We have 127 in credit card.
127 in credit cards?
Yeah, 127,000 in credit cards.
What did you put on these cards?
Stuff for the house, helping out our kids, vacations that we shouldn't have gone on.
Whew. Well, don't really know what to say about that one. That's going on vacations you shouldn't go on. You know, I mean, what? I don't know. Leave a comment what you think, because I don't know. Here's a good one right here.
This right here, yeah, that changed my life, because this is so true. People have so much debt you wouldn't even believe. Like, when you really start talking to people, they just casually drop, yeah, you know, I owe like 15 grand. Dollars? American? Oh, okay. Okay. Like, people really just walk around in massive debt to keep up with this life. And you know what even make it worse is that you really got to sit back sometime and realize your mama was right. You know that whole keep up with the Joneses thing? Yeah. Because, you know, your mom used to be like, well, if Stacy was going to jump off a bridge, you going to jump too? And my ass, I graduated college. I started living that life. I'm right behind her. I'm right behind her. And I did get me a little debt doing that. But you have to realize that, like, oh my God, I feel like I'm turning into my mom. All that glitters isn't gold. It really ain't. It really, really ain't. It really ain't. People got so much debt they don't know what to do with themselves. Don't fall into that trap. Don't fall into that mindset, because it's so much harder to get out than it is to get in. Oh my gosh, it's like a GPA. It's easier to drop than raise. And a credit score is the same way. But yeah, walking around with massive credit card debt.
Keeping up with the Joneses, right? Keeping up with that image, that mirage of you're doing great, everybody's doing wonderful. You know, I need to do wonderful too, just like all my neighbors and stuff. I'm taking care of myself. I don't care about the neighbors. Now, this is a good one.
I've been to 20 countries this year, and the number one question I get asked is, how can you afford to travel so much? Babe, I just put it all on my credit card. I'm in severe, crippling credit card debt. And yesterday, my only meal was a pack of cigarettes. But I'm in Cyprus! Enjoying the view.
Now that is irresponsible. He's going to suffer later, and he does not even know it. Have a good time in Cyprus, bro. Enjoy the view. Here comes good old Deb again. Cutting the plastic.
Let's do an on-air plastic surgery right now. We're just going to start chopping up cards. It is time for a plastectomy, America. $1 trillion in credit card debt. I'm getting airline miles. No, you're not. You're in debt. You're in debt. $1 trillion When you do it with the student loans, we call it an epic pandemic crisis. When we do it with credit cards, it's on the third page of Fox's website. It's $1 trillion of you buying crap you can't afford with money you don't have to impress people you don't even really like. Maybe you should stop that.
There's a real truth that people are using those to pay for food and to pay
No.
Yes.
They have the money for food. They're using these because they don't want to cut off Netflix. They're using these because they want to go on vacation and they're broke. That's why they're using them. It's the same reason they've always been using them.
100%. Yes.
You cannot make an economic case that people are actually have to have a credit card for survival today. That's just not true.
Actually, he's the guru, but I use my credit card and get points and stuff and pay off the bill before interest accrues. We get good percentages off different categories of stuff, and we are able to manage that, and it builds our credit and makes your credit better if you know how to use the credit cards right. But most people don't. That's what he's talking about, I believe. But if you can use them right, they're a powerful weapon. If you use them wrong, they're a powerful weapon against you.
Well,
they just keep spending and spending and spending like there's no tomorrow, like there's no reckoning for this level of debt. You keep running up. You got $1 trillion. You got 1.7 trillion in student loan debt. You got to now have $1 trillion in credit card debt, and then you can't figure out why the average American can't seem to get ahead. Well, I think I figured it out. They're giving it all the stinking banks.
Yeah, when you're in so much debt, you can't get ahead at all. You're just on the wheel of the rat, right? And just trying to make ends meet, but there's no way to get them to meet. So, I feel for you if you got credit card debt. If you do, check out the debt consolidation link in the description. I'll also leave a link to a to a side hustle, the affiliate marketing course. It's $7, not $7 a month, a year. It's $7 for a 15-day real course on how you can start a real business online. Okay, so check that out. Otherwise, maybe get a side hustle, right? Maybe, sell stuff on eBay, go get another job, night job, bartend, wait tables, whatever you got to do, right? I mean, get that off your neck. Anyways, didn't mean to get too crazy, right? Usually it's pretty relaxed, pretty calm, but this is a pretty big problem, I think, in America, right? Don't you think? I mean, give me a thumbs up if you think it's a problem. And leave me a message and tell me how you're doing, right? Tell me how you're doing with this credit card debt. Are you doing okay? Are you in credit card debt? How you guys doing? Hope you enjoyed this video. There's a lot more to come, so make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that bell notification, right? So you get all the videos. Like this video and share this with someone who has credit card debt, okay? So maybe help them out a little bit. Anyways, really appreciate you guys watching as always. And as always, I wish you much success in your finances and in life. Peace out.